Hey everyone, welcome back. As you might have noticed, I haven't made any videos about Jing for a long time, and many of you have been asking to learn Jing and become the best Jing player possible. So for those subscribers and viewers who want to learn Jing easily, understand all her core mechanics, as well as her hidden tricks, combos, and playstyles, I'm starting a brand new series dedicated entirely to her. I'm calling this series Jinged. I know the name isn't the most creative, but just ignore that part. The purpose of this series is to cover everything related to Jing. We'll start by discussing her skills and their use cases, move on to learning her combos properly, and I'll also include analysis videos of pro Jing players, showing how they play her in normal matches or specific scenarios, and how you can emulate their style. I'm currently working on the first episode of this series, as well as the next part of my Clash Lane guide. My upload schedule has been every 3 days, so just for the algorithm, I decided to make this video to share some basic but crucial Jing tips that can help you immensely if applied correctly. Consider this video a prologue to my Jing series. Also, to motivate me to create more Jing content and continue post-morteming her, make sure to like this video and follow me on Instagram. Now, without any further ado, let's roll the intro. First, when you're playing Jing, you should keep track of both teams' jungle respawns. A pro Jing player, or any pro jungler for that matter, always monitors jungle respawn timers, not just for their own jungle, but also for the enemies. I know this can sound a bit difficult to execute at first, especially because it can be hectic to remember everything while also paying attention to other things happening in the game. So to make it easier, I suggest starting with the essential and main buffs first, like your blue and red buffs. Now you might wonder how to do this exactly and effectively. Let me explain. For example, if you start at your blue buff and move to the other side of your jungle, while the enemy jungler starts at their red buff and moves toward the other side, you'll see that the enemy jungler has started from your mirrored side. For this first jungle clear, both of you are very likely to walk similar paths. Because of this, you and the enemy jungler are also likely to encounter each other in the mid lane if you didn't plan to skip minion waves, or in your side lanes if you did skip waves. So how does this help you? Here's what you can do in this situation. If you're playing Jing, you're likely to reach level 4 slightly faster than the enemy jungler. This time advantage allows you to gank the enemy side laner as soon as you reach them, chipping their health, forcing them to use or waste their spells, or even securing a kill if the enemy jungler is slow at clearing their jungle. However, if the enemy jungler is fast or moderately paced at clearing jungle, then you can wait inside the bush near the enemy wall. Let them gank or initiate the teamfight first. Most likely, they'll overextend or lose some health trying to take down your marksman. This creates the perfect opportunity for you to punish them, potentially taking out their jungler or side laner as well. Using this method properly will significantly boost your chances of winning. And next I'll tell you why it's so important to keep track of both your own and the enemy jungle's respawn timers. So what exactly happens when you keep track of both sides' buff respawns and both you and the enemy jungler start from mirrored sides, meaning you from the blue buff and they from the red buff? When your blue buff spawns for the second time, the enemy's red buff will also spawn simultaneously, which you can anticipate by tracking the respawn timings. In this situation, you can choose to skip taking your own buff and head straight to the enemy's buff. However, before doing so, you should carefully assess the enemy's situation. If their teammates are nearby or helping the enemy jungler take the buff, going alone could be extremely dangerous, and you might end up dying. But if the enemy is alone, it's worth taking the risk. You can either steal the buff while they're taking it, or reach it before they even start. There are two main approaches in this scenario. First, if the enemy has no backup, you can take advantage of Jing's high smite damage to steal their buff quickly and escape safely. Second, if some of their teammates notice your attempt and come to assist their jungler, you should prioritize preventing the enemy jungler from getting their buff using your abilities. The way to do this is simple. Focus on fighting the enemy jungler rather than solely taking the buff. Even if the enemy manages to secure the buff, as long as their jungler doesn't get it, you are at an advantage. This strategy can slowly disrupt their economy and limit the buffs they can secure in the early game. Finally, if the enemy jungler is particularly strong and it's difficult to steal or waste their buff, you can target their smaller jungle camps instead and then retreat. If nothing seems safe to take, meaning you would likely face multiple enemies, skip invading for that round and wait for the next monster spawns. This allows you to plan a safer invasion with a higher chance of success. Third, analyzing hero power spikes and their strengths is crucial. You usually do this before every team fight, and especially when you're clearing minion waves or planning to invade. For example, if you've analyzed the strength of your teammates in the mid and side lanes, it will help you decide whether to engage or not. If your lane is weak, you may skip fighting or trying to poke the enemy lane by overextending. Instead, focus on farming the minion waves and returning safely to your jungle. If your laner is strong, say your mid lane is dominant, You can assist them by pushing the mid wave and trying to force a fight with the enemy mid laner while hiding near a bush. The moment the enemy mid laner overextends or just comes out of their turret to attack your mid laner, you can use Jing's insane mobility to reach them instantly and finish them off. Many inexperienced Jing players, especially junglers, lose health or even die while clearing the mid lane because they fail to assess both their teammates' and enemies' strength, skill availability, and positioning. Analyzing hero strengths makes it much easier to make optimal in-game decisions and also helps organize jungle invasions like the one I discussed previously. As I mentioned before, if the enemies are stronger, it's often better to give up invading and wait for a better opportunity or focus on objective control. Conversely, if your team is stronger, you can confidently contest objectives, knowing the enemy may be too weak to respond effectively. If you want, I can also make videos discussing various heroes and their exact power spikes, meaning the moments or timings when they are at their strongest. Fourth, don't engage in meaningless fights. Yes, you should avoid joining fights that don't provide much value. For example, imagine your teammates are all in the mid lane freezing the wave, but both of your jungle camps have respawned. At this moment, if you skip farming to join a risky fight just because your teammates are initiating it, and you might end up dying or losing the fight. What happens next is that the enemy can take objectives like the dragon freely, as there is no one to contest or farm your jungle camps, which you ignored. This happens simply because you died by joining a meaningless and potentially losing fight. This can also greatly affect your gold lead. Even if you built a strong early game lead, the enemy might close the gap just by winning a team fight that you blindly joined. The rule of thumb is to never follow your teammates blindly. Otherwise, the enemy can turn the game around easily. You may have noticed that in professional games or esports tournaments, teams often have low kills. Their fights mainly occur around objectives like jungle control, contesting dragons, or high ground pushes. In ranked games, however, fights are more frequent and chaotic. You need to play like a pro player here, by avoiding succumbing to your teammates' dumb decisions. Fifth, watch for both your teammates and enemies holding ultimates or other crucial abilities. Don't waste your key skills, especially Jing's ultimate, on low-value targets. Sometimes, simply holding back your abilities instead of spamming them can create a sense of fear among the enemies. They may hesitate to engage, knowing that your powerful skills are ready. For example, if your team has a hero like Liang with his ultimate available, the enemy's damage dealer may play cautiously from a safe distance, or avoid joining the fight entirely while that ultimate is active. The same principle applies to you. If the enemy has a hero with skills that counter you effectively, particularly CC abilities, it's better not to dive in blindly. Instead, wait for them to waste their skills, potentially by forcing your tanky teammates to bait them out, then engage afterward. Alternatively, engage in a way that bursts them down before they can use their counter skills. This approach requires high skill and isn't generally recommended for new Jing players. By paying attention to ultimate and ability usage, you can apply pressure effectively and gain a strategic advantage over the enemy team. Sixth is understanding the lane waves. A pro jungler, or a Jing player in particular, must understand minion waves and their timing. As Jing, you usually shouldn't initiate fights first unless you can guarantee an instant kill on the enemy carry. Also, don't enter fights recklessly. If your gold and items are insufficient, you won't be able to burst the enemy carry effectively. In these situations, pushing minion waves can help boost your gold gain. Farming jungle camps alone may not be enough, so taking minion waves ensures you keep up with both gold and experience. So how do you clear waves without taking too much risk? For example, if all your teammates are freezing the mid lane, instead of joining them, push a side lane. This allows wave control or freezing to become meaningful, while putting the enemies under double pressure and forcing them to divide into groups. Push the wave, pressure the tower, then rotate to the next wave, maintaining constant map pressure. Push enemy towers when possible, then disengage. Don't overcommit or go further than necessary. These strategies should especially be applied when you're behind in gold. The approach differs if you are ahead, so always adjust based on your current lead or disadvantage. Seventh is giving fake vision to the enemies. As I mentioned earlier, when your teammates are pushing the mid lane, you can go to a side lane and push that wave. Once you're done clearing it, you can deliberately show yourself on the map moving toward your jungle. Enemies will see you for a few seconds if you're near their minions, and may assume that you're heading back to your own jungle. But in reality, after a few steps, you can take a turn and move toward their buff side, hiding inside the bush near the buff. When the enemy attempts to take their buff, you can instantly gank them. And if you're strong enough and land your skills and combos successfully, it can result in a guaranteed kill. Just make sure you're not too far behind in gold before attempting this type of ambush. Faking vision is a clever concept that allows you to play mind games with your enemies. Personally, I love doing it. I even spammed this tactic when we had the platform bounce feature on the map. It was incredibly fun and satisfying to pull off. And that's it for this video, lads. I know it didn't have a lot of never heard before or game-breaking tips, But these were some simple things I often see many Jing players ignoring while playing her. Also, this is just a prologue to my Jinged series, meaning it only teases a bit about what you can expect from the full series. That's why it doesn't contain mind-blowing content yet. I'm saving the best for future videos. So for my efforts, please both hype and like this video, subscribe to my channel to become the best Jing player, comment your questions down below, and share it with your friends and fellow Jing players. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, bye and love y'all.